Is it some devil that crawls inside of you?
This is supposed to be the studio or the office, but I think I'm just going to turn it into like an office. Yeah. Just straight up. Anyways, Taaffe, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's not really welcome to the podcast. It's thanks for hanging out and talking to me. This is fun. All right. Bye. Oh my God. I've known you for a really long time, and you've always been a very interesting, like you said, an enigma, the E word, really out there person, and just fascinated me. And I just felt like you struck a chord with me, and we used to be like friends adjacent to that group of guys, and we were like the only white guys in the group. So everyone called me the other Taaffe.
Yeah.
Growing up.
Yeah, like the best value version.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fuck. That was a great value version. Yeah. You were there first. You're older. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I understand. Dude, you live back in Lompoc. Are you okay?
No. That's probably one of the most frequent questions I get asked moving back is just, oh, you moved back to Lompoc. I'm like, yeah, it's on purpose. Yeah, surprisingly. I wouldn't say that it was my plan necessarily. I think I was thinking a little bit more north or south of this location. Jeez. But, generally plus or minus.
Is it? Do you have like a lot of bad memories, and like a lot of people kind of hate coming back because this town does have its weight on people and like curses them in these weird ways, whether it's like familial or not?
Not necessarily. I don't necessarily have like a kind of a negative relationship with Lompoc. I do have a lot of family that like is no longer with us who spent their entire lives here, and I don't have a lot of family that I have like active relationships left who live here. For me, it's not the land of opportunity. That's all.
It is not.
You have to, if you're really motivated and you really want to like carve a life out for yourself, I feel like you do have the opportunity to do so, but it's always been the joke that it's like a black hole. Like it sucks you back in.
It does. It sucks you back in, and I feel like the people who do get sucked back in aren't here for opportunity necessarily. However, I don't feel like you're sucked into that either. I feel like I don't feel sucked back in either. So there's just kind of an interesting component that I wanted to point out. Like, it seems like there's another thing I share with you in common other than skateboarding and being the white guys in the group. So it's fucking nice.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to Lompoc that's awesome. Like it's just not like it's like a great idea and it never got fully fleshed out. That's kind of how it feels to me.
It does. What's the great idea? I don't know if I noticed this part of it. Just the Lompoc town in general.
I don't know if I can.
Maybe you're like, I don't even fucking know. That was bullshit.
Yeah, I'm not the guy. I'm just saying stuff that seems smart. No, I mean, my whole family's just here because of Vandenberg. Yeah. That's 100% the only reason. Both of my grandfathers on both sides were stationed here. And then, more or less a lot of family kind of tagged along.
So you are a product of two gay grandfathers started a family together? And they were both stationed at Vandenberg? Is what you're saying? Happy Pride Month, folks. It is June 4th on the recording of this today. Is it June 4th? It's the 5th? It's the 4th?
I think it's the 4th.
It's the 4th.
Yeah, yesterday was the 3rd.
Then it has to be the 4th.
Today might be the 4th.
There's a good chance.
Yeah.
The numbers do go that direction.
How heavily do you edit these?
Not at all.
Not at all? Just stream of consciousness, put it
stream
out
of consciousness, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I like the flow of conversation, and the ones that I always appreciated podcast wise were a sit down conversation where you really get to peel back the layers of people. And there are some that that have gone on too long, and the interesting part is like the third like the last third of it sometimes.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like that's the last third is chaos. Just turn it off once the middle is on. You know what I mean? So it just varies on people. But yeah, no, I really don't. I think I've had like suggestions from my producer and people to like edit it and cut it down for time, but it just doesn't make sense to me because it's you have the opportunity to do something long form, detailed, and you get the spectrum of something.
Yeah.
Like, and to me, that's really important because it's perspective. It's like you get perspective on the growth of a conversation, you get perspective on people's conversational abilities, and I think that's really nice to highlight individuals such as yourself, and also I get to express myself in a way that people don't regularly get to see when I'm just like standing at the bar grouchy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that's not me. That's just unfortunately what it. So yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've listened to a lot of podcasts where you hear people actively being like, you can take that out, right? And then, the fact that you hear that is, I think speaks volumes on how the host wants to kind of like shine a light on the actual interaction, regardless of if it's like a highly scripted podcast or something that's more impromptu stream of consciousness.
That's fair. There's people who have asked things be taken out, and I'm like, yeah, for sure. I just say, hey, just get that little section out. It's fine. And I've actually had a couple people now ask for their whole episodes to be taken down. People who are like running for political office, or people who are working for like a local government, and like just maybe local organizations where the type of conversations we're having on here do not reflect positively on that. And this is, like maybe before they had those jobs, so they have to like, how everything is now. They just scrub your background and your fucking, dude, that's the background check. Is like, you just look someone up online and you're like, this person's.
I've always wondered, like how people around our age and a little bit older have spent so much time online, and they've like made public so much of their like intimate details over time. I always wonder like how many people have like screenshots of like some stupid shit that you said on MySpace like 15 years ago. And if you tried to run for office, like how quickly would you get like
just destroyed?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm still saying stupid shit.
Yeah, I do. I feel like I say the dumbest thing I've ever said daily.
Like it's a new standard. You raise the bar daily.
I think it's like it's a level of intelligence going into like how raw and offensive the things that I say are each day. And I definitely choose my audience. Yeah. But yeah, like I didn't set the bar 15 years ago. I think I'm constantly setting that
improving
bar.
It. You know what? Well, that's kind of what I mean is like I think like there's people like Kevin Hart that he couldn't host the Oscars because he like tweeted the word faggot or something, and it was like, dude, that was like years ago, and he apologized for it, or maybe he didn't, I forget, but it was so unrelated.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm not Kevin Hart, I'm a little taller, but it's about the only difference. Still funny. And I'm like, dude, the stuff I said 15 years ago, tame, cute, nothing, which I like. I can appreciate. Yeah. But maybe 10 years from now is when I'm saying the dumb shit will catch up to me, and I'm like, oh man, I was a different person. It was a different point in time. The head of the administration was falling all over the place. I don't know what to say.
I feel like one of the things that I don't know how much I can speak on this, but
welcome to this podcast.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Bad etiquette. So like 90s hip hop is always revered as like the golden age of like expression in that art form, but it is like some of the most like homophobic and transphobic music you will ever hear. Like if you listen to like a DMX album from like his most classic like what is it?
Who let the
X
dogs
gonna
out?
give it to you, and like
I know
that kind of
era.
like specific era. The stuff that he says is insane. Like if he tried to release it now, like it would definitely get commercially released, because I don't think that like labels really care that much. But like I listen back to it, and it's like my eyes are a little wide.
Isn't
it's
that
fun.
Funny how it's like back then it was just chill. Like that's how people talked. And now, because of all of this tiptoeing you have to do, you like tiptoe for other people where you're like, oh, I don't think you can put that on your album anymore. I don't think you can say that. I try to be as open-minded as I can about it and just be thankful that they're still doing shit like that.
Yeah.
Like once in a while I'll see a movie and there'll be like a racy joke in there and I'm like, oh my God, thank God. Like we're still allowed. Like there's still a chance to be funny in a movie out there. Like comedy movies are like basically dead. When's the last good comedy that came out? Precisely.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I threw my hands up in the air and
yeah.
in defeat.
Yeah, where's my camera?
There was definitely a peak to it.
Yeah, there was a 40-year-old virgin hangover like era, and then just like came crashing down. We're the Millers was funny. The new Vacation remake was funny. They're kind of out there.
I feel like
they used to be the king.
Yeah, I feel like part of that is like the rise of streaming and like the kind of destruction of like cinema as like a cultural and like physical experience.
How do you feel about that? Do you?
It's boring.
You think it's boring that they're destroying cinema now? It's like being bore driven essentially. It's taking the fun out of it.
Yeah, like it doesn't. A lot of the stuff just feels like content.
Yeah,
like I think that's what everything's content driven. It's what is going to be, the maximizing dollar value for like what you put in actor wise. So you're either going to have like something super low budget or super high budget, and you don't really have a lot of room for kind of the middle ground and like
where art happens.
Yeah, and like some experimentation.
Yeah,
like I feel like most movies I've seen that have like a really low budget are pretty ass.
Yeah.
But the really high budget stuff, I don't want to watch CGI superhero movies every single time.
Yeah,
like
it doesn't feel good. You know what? Me and Faith just watched Megan. The movie just came out in January. They had some practical effects in there, and it was so fucking good. I haven't seen a movie like that in a long time, but you're right. This is like so content driven. Where like there's some that have such big studios and such big success behind it that it's kind of like ruined other movies for me. What movies are ruined for you? Can you even watch movies anymore? Like John Wick ruined every action movie out there ever. I can't watch any action movie. I'm like, this is dumb. That guy can't manipulate a gun in a realistic way. They're fucking using that dude's lens cap is covering his optic. Like there's just silly shit where I'm like, damn it. And like nerds will point things out in movies. I'm a geek about shit. Sorry. And unfortunately, one of the things is the gun things now, and now I watch movies and I go, oh my God, this is so gross. It's like when we were growing up skateboarding, and then we'd watch like some movie, and some dude would be like Mongo pushing. Looks like they the first time stepped on a board. They'd be mall grabbing. You're like, wow, what is that? That's not so inaccurate.
I remember,
that was clearly a stunt double. That's how I feel with these fucking gun movies. And John Wick just in general was so fucking badass, and he kicked so much goddamn ass. Like nothing even, just knowing the fact that he like went through the martial arts training and the weapons manipulation training, did it, and I ruined all of the rest of movies. I can only watch the John Wick movies, or action movies. The rest just don't live up to it.
Maybe they should do a little bit less research on the realism of their movies. No, I was never a huge movie buff. I'm kind of boring for that.
That's totally fine. That's totally fine, because if 90s hip hop is where it's at, well, you can steer right back into that, because I would love to know and learn more.
Yeah, I get that would be the kind of genre of art that I'm a little bit more familiar with.
Why 90s hip hop? Why hip hop in general?
It always just seemed more interesting. Like I guess fundamentally it's, to me as a child, it was easy to understand how like a piano works, how a guitar works, that kind of stuff. Records were what really seemed like, for whatever reason, like unobtainable, like on how it actually works. Now I understand it's just like a a piece of like a petroleum byproduct with like grooves carved in it, and then vibrations
On the
produce
needle.
sound. Like, okay, yeah, that's easy enough. But as a kid, I was like, how do you do that? And then like scratching and all that, I was like, I don't understand how this works. And so kind of as I grew up, I also my dad liked hip hop, so he got me into that. Like as a young kid, and then I had family members who would kind of, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Spruce it in there.
Yeah, and then as a teenager, I started getting a little bit more into it and like underground hip hop.
Who was your go-to when you were like really in, like when I remember when I was a teenager and like my punk music, my hardcore punk music, like that era, I had my like standouts. Did you have that with hip hop? Was that like your...
Yeah, like Jedi Mind Tricks was that, and then it branches out really heavy from there because they do a lot of different collectives. There's like Demigods and Army of the Pharaohs, and there's like Apathy, Self-Titled, Esoteric, Chief Kamachi. Like it like goes
to me
super
has
deep.
to be underground, because Jedi Mind Tricks sounds familiar, and that might just be a Star Wars connection I'm making. Might not even actually be a hip hop connection.
Yeah, it's like an Italian dude from like Philadelphia, and like a producer, and like one other. Just Allah was the other rapper that's in that original kind of configuration of Jedi Mind Tricks. So it was like a bunch of like 17-year-old kids making basically like 5% Nation like Islam like themed hip hop with like crazy samples, and it was mostly just like the beats.
Yeah.
Where it was like, where do you even find this music? Because a lot of the samples in it are like crazy Italian film, like film scores, or just random something from Japan, like a pop record from the 70s, and they take like a little snippet and make the most orchestral like new beat out of it. It's like, it always felt like the punk aesthetic, like the really DIY thing, where you go into a record store with like $10-20 and then you come out with like these unknown like pieces of art and then make something new out of it.
Totally.
And it's super illegal. Like if you're not clearing your samples, like super illegal. So that's kind of what drew me in. It was like a really raw, like DIY.
Did it feel like
approach.
Attainable yourself, or it felt like just real in general?
Yeah, it was something that
palatable.
I immediately was able to like get into, and then pine after like gear, and sit there just listening to new music. Even though like I listened to just crazy music because of that initial kind of spark.
That's so cool. So what, I mean, like that's what was most attractive about it. There wasn't like a lyrical theme, like, because that was something that I never understood or didn't relate to, is even today, even now, like pop music in general, and like a lot of hip hop rap, like I don't relate to that. They're not saying anything to me about my life. It is very disconnected, and like I'm not always looking for an escape when I listen to music. And a lot of people, I feel like they are, or it's kind of like it becomes like a score soundtrack, and they get to like almost thread this like make-believe reality with it. And to me, it was like I heard music that ended up being really hitting close to home and kind of like resonating with how I felt. And I still feel that way about a lot of things, and I try to look for something that is mirroring what I'm feeling, and I don't get that with that kind of music. So I'm always trying to like kind of like peel back on people, trying to see what kind of drives their interest in those things, because clearly I'm missing something, and I just like it's just I just want to understand the world around me, and I know that when I'm being ignorant about something, there's an opportunity to learn something too. Like when I'm just like, I don't fuck feel like this dumb shit. Like there's part of me that's like, okay, tell me why. Seriously, I want to know. I'm fucking curious. So I never really got into like rap and hip hop and things. And I was like, I mean, do I look like a rapper or a hip? Like I don't think it checks out at all. So I was like, all right, maybe it's just not for me. But then as I got older, it was like, I got lonelier and lonelier with music and like weirder about it. And I was like, oh shit. I really need to know what the kids were feeling that I wasn't feeling growing up. I just felt like a big loner. I'm coming to terms with like the my sense of individuality, kind of like really taking a good look at it, seeing what's bullshit, seeing what's authentic in it, and seeing what was just out of security. So
yeah, I think so. I can never separate music out from, like, I guess the lyric or vocal component and the actual music. It's always like it's inextricable. They're linked together.
Yeah.
There's no way to kind of peel that apart, which I kind of envy people for. I know there's individuals who, when they listen to music, it's just, I guess, like a melodic experience. It's like one piece and you don't have to listen to the words. Because I hear a lot of people talk about that, where they're like, oh, it's catchy, it sounds good. I'm like, oh, did you hear that? I'm like, no, like I don't catch anything in the lyrics. For me, a lot of the hip hop like that's not like commercial is it's like informed by like battle rap. So there's not like a specific opponent or anything, but it's like very
driven in that sense.
I guess you could think of it like they're talking shit to you.
Yeah.
And in a sense, like
that feels
that's
really
kind of
immediate.
the motivating part of listening to that, because it's like, oh shit, like I could do better than that. Or a lot of it's educational. There's like some rappers you listen to and it's like, I don't know what they're talking about.
That's a new word, motherfucker, to me.
Yeah, or they're making reference to like a Ugandan politician from the 1960s.
Yeah.
And so you have to say like Rap Genius is like the best resource ever, because it's all the lyrics
references?
are there and it's annotated.
Oh.
And so they'll use like picture references.
That looks like
everything.
that's like crack to me. That's exactly what I want out of this world.
Yeah, and then they changed it from Rap Genius to just genius.com, and they do all genres now.
That really?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, so it's any genre, and people sit there and just pick apart lyrics. I've helped annotate like a Mac Dre song too, because they were like, he was making reference to like cars on like Cadillac Girls, like the remix with Andre Nicotina, and people just weren't understanding. I was like, oh no, it's like this. But that was always, it's like,
because remember, I used to have to go to YouTube comment sections, and that's where people would be arguing about the lyrics and what they mean.
Yeah.
No pictures, and it would just be assholes calling you the N-word, because you're like, this is an Eagles song, bro. Chill.
Yeah, it looks like a Call of Duty lobby, like in like a transcript form.
Yeah. It's brutal. So I'm glad that exists. I've definitely, now that you say it's just called Genius, guarantee I've been on there before. I think that's what
probably
pops up.
the top if you search blah blah blah
lyrics. It pops up.
Yeah,
it's just
either
the lyrics
that
first.
or A to Z lyrics, or some of the old school ones that used to be popular.
I remember there was this one that pretty much you couldn't find lyrics for heavy music, like extreme music, any hardcore, any metal, death metal, things like that. And I think it was called like PYP, I don't know, something lyrics, but that's where you found all the like doomy, dark, evil shit. And I was like, yeah, baby. And there's this band, I Hate God, and they do not have their lyrics set down, and they still to this day only have like bad interpretations of what their lyrics are, and it just fucks me up because I want to know, but I don't know, and it doesn't make any sense. So when I listen to it, I'm just making shit up in my own head. The song name is Sister Fucker. I just have to assume it's about someone fucking their sister, or who knows what these lyrics mean.
At that point, for some of that music, if they're not going to provide you with like a lyrical context, is you got to just think of it as like just abstract art, like Cubism or Dadaism or something, like some of the post-war movement art, where it's like it's up to you to figure out what it means to you at that point. Is that more powerful than like a really straightforward like gun bars like in hip hop? Or do
you think that that's lazy artists? Do you think that someone who is not willing to be bold enough to apply a meaning or express a meaning in their art, that they just give you something and it's like they just had to get out of their system, just kind of like draw a little bit? Like sometimes I doodle and I'm like, this doesn't mean anything. I had to draw something, it just came out. Sorry.
I don't think that's lazy or anything. Like, I guess it depends. Like, are they just like, no, how do you put a label on art like that? Like, I sit there and...
Well, they're asking us to interpret it too.
Yeah, are they though? They're asking us to pay for it.
Which is bullshit.
We don't have to interpret it.
Yeah. I'd much rather interpret it than pay for it. Yeah. I'll tell you what.
I was out there, I've made, I don't know how many, but like hundreds of beats that no one will ever listen to. And it's mostly I don't even know if I find it fun to make music. like, do you find the act of, do you ever go hiking?
I do.
Okay, do you find the actual act of hiking fun, or is the culmination of your hard work the reward? Or is like hiking like the intrinsic value to you, like the fun part of it? Because I find like skateboarding's fun.
Yeah.
But like I don't find walking up a mountain fun.
No.
Like I'll go do it again.
Yes.
Because it's valuable to me.
Certainly.
But I kind of feel like that with art. Like I have to do it.
Yeah.
If I don't do it, like my head doesn't work.
Yeah, you're
so
like,
it doesn't matter how I do it. I started doing collages and shit at one point just because I needed a new way to express myself.
I love collages too. That's something I've always kind of wanted to do, and I have essentially like mental collages because my ADHD is like I what I used to do is I used to write lists down of things I wanted to look at, that I was interested in, that I was trying to like get deeper into. And when I worked at a hotel overnight, I would do all of this thinking and all of this random scatterbrained like accessing of these things. It's like, why do baseball players like chew these seeds or bubble gum, or like chew, versus why these steroids work better? Because I'll go off like steroids, baseball steroids, oh, UFC fighters, and then it goes, oh, like why is Las Vegas like that? And just like jump off this fucking catapult of just shit I'm trying to, and like that would essentially be my collages. I'd be like, okay, I want to look at like these 39 things. Hi, welcome in. Howdy, how you doing?
Beer.
You have beer? You're my favorite person.
You guys are able to open beer.
Yeah, we're resourceful people. Welcome to the podcast.
I like being welcome.
Thank you. Like I say, I got the seatbelt cutter
Yeah.
and the window breaker, but I don't have a bottle opener on my knife.
No?
I have.
Weak.
This bottle opener is so old. I'm gonna cut
I mean,
myself.
it's kind of working.
It's kind of working, but if you look, you can see the teeth from all the bottles I've opened right there. Just like a sheer alcoholic trademark right
I
there.
almost grabbed you guys like a Four
Cheers.
Loko Gold.
That's too far. You're hilarious.
Cheers.
Couldn't have
I
done
wish
that.
I had the Four Loko pregame out here, but I honestly haven't seen it since we went to like World Beverage when we were living in Colorado.
They were awful.
Mm-hmm.
I have a bottle opener that's a picture of me, my little brother, and my dad on it.
Oh, that's
and my
heartwarming.
dad came over one time and shamed me for not using it. And so I still don't use it every time, but I put it into my cooler.
Yeah.
So if I go on vacation or take it out somewhere, then I have to use that one to open the beers. And we all go new places together.
That's beautiful. Are your dad and your brother still around, or what?
Yeah, they live in Colorado.
Oh, okay. So, is that why you moved out to Colorado? Was there a big like exodus where your family went out there, or what? Why Colorado? And
In a sense, my stepmom has spent a lot of her life in Colorado. So
Yeah.
before her and my dad were together, she lived in Pueblo. I don't know if anyone knows about Pueblo, but most people who know about Pueblo don't like Pueblo. I said Pueblo too many times in a row.
what's the comparison?
Probably Lompoc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have like a kinship with Honeycutt because he's from Colorado? He's from Falcon. Zach Honeycutt.
I know what you're talking about. I had never been to Colorado like when I knew him.
Oh, duh.
Yeah, like
duh.
in Lompoc.
I'm being a bad listener. Yeah,
No,
that's
you're
true.
good.
That makes sense.
No, I spent like the majority of my life in Lompoc up until I was 23. I lived in Bakersfield for a few years. After I graduated from high school, my dad, stepmom, and little brother, they moved to Colorado from Bakersfield. So they've now lived there a little bit more than 10 years.
Okay. So you
And
just ended up following them eventually?
A little bit, yeah. My dad like pitched it to me quite a bit.
Yeah, fuck yeah. You're like, hey, family.
As one would.
Yeah,
you know,
like I would like my son.
Yeah,
that
hey,
is
my
not
son, I would
moving
like
in
you to
with-
be here. And then Sarah and I were just looking for like new stuff to do, new places to go. Before we moved to Colorado, we had spent time going on road trips to like Oregon, Washington. We went to Colorado, visited and explored more of California, and just kind of like spent our time just trying to experience new things.
Okay, so you guys have met in Lompoc, obviously, so that's why you ended up back here. there was some sort of connection, your family, right? And versus, so what was like the other place besides Colorado that you guys would be considering even going to? Did these road trips elicit any of these fucking journeys that you wanted to go on? Because I went on a really pivotal road trip in my last relationship when we were tinkering with the idea of moving to Tennessee.
That's fucking out there.
Yeah, it's fucking out there. Looking back now, though, it probably would have been a pretty sweet move, because 2-3 years ago it would have been ideal because of everything that happened during the pandemic. But we didn't go because we were like, this place doesn't have anything California doesn't have, because there wasn't lockdowns and shit yet. Because this was like 2017 when we went. So it was like, it's prettier, in Lompoc. All of our friends, or not in Lompoc, but in California.
There are a lot of lakes out there in
yeah.
Tennessee.
We got fucking lakes here. They're bigger.
Then it was a bit cheaper, but like now it's probably widened on that gap a little bit.
Yeah.
With
Oh man.
how housing has gotten in California.
Yeah. So it was there somewhere?
Pacific Northwest.
Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of hippies or what? You
Well,
guys.
there was like the idea of going out to Oregon at one point, but
Pull that sucker over there too. Don't be shy.
okay. Yeah, we talked about maybe going out to Oregon, and we went and explored the area, but I don't know how to put this. Oregon's really like white trash in a bad way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get that.
And like,
I've heard that.
it's very obvious, like sundowner towns, and like it's very awkward when you explore some of it.
Yeah.
When you get further and further, like deeper into it, it's like, oh, this looks really pretty, and then you look around, and you're like, this is bad.
Is this actually bad? The
So, like,
trees
you-
are pretty.
You,
the people
you
are
go
not.
in, like Coos Bay is like the first one that really comes to mind. Like we went there and we stopped into a Dairy Queen, and like we walked in, everybody just stopped and looked at us, and was like, oh, well, this is fucking weird.
Well, I mean, were you
I know,
guys
we're very-
not wearing white hoods like they were, or what happened?
I don't honestly. I don't.
Were you?
It was like a whole like 2 softball teams, and we just walked in looking like normal, but like us, I don't know.
You guys look like you might be a part of the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah,
I don't know what.
No,
Was it
I got dirty looks in Utah when we went there too.
Well,
like
you
obviously,
do not look Mormon
Yeah.
enough.
I was wearing a fucked up T-shirt for some reason.
I guess I have like a sacrifice goat on the back of my arm or whatever, and like some tattoos, but. It was a Carl's Jr. and a gas station and a laundromat and like a truck stop.
You
and
just described all.
yeah,
Just
and,
described all. You can judge me. Just described all of Lompoc.
yeah, and then the clerk was literally like 9 months pregnant and holding an infant that was less than a year old.
Gosh, she fucks.
Yeah.
A little jealous.
Yeah, I'd say the Pacific Northwest, that would probably be the other place. I found I don't really like snow. Hate's a strong word. No, I fucking hate snow.
So you guys just thought Colorado would be cool?
Yeah, I thought it would be cool.
Snows.
I can do the snow, but then I figured out that it's like Paso Robles hot in the fucking summer too. So it's
You're like, oh, I hate heat now too, which I wanted when I couldn't see the driveway.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's negative 20 in the winter, and then it's like 100 degrees in the summer, and you get like 2.5 months out of the year where it's like pleasant outside.
And you're like, I wasn't thinking about the fucking...
I wasn't thinking about the fucking pandemic either.
No.
How about doing lockdown and they're like, stay at home, but you're working the whole time and you want to go do something like outdoorsy, but everything's on fire for like 6 months straight. Like the fires didn't go out because firefighters were even successful in putting them out. They went out because the snow put it out.
I could be a firefighter in Colorado then. Not have to be
The
successful.
snow didn't even immediately put it out.
No, the snow took a while. It had to pile on and put it out. Like 3 fires combined forces in the mountains, and we're like racing towards where we live. So a lot of people got evacuated. A lot of people lost everything.
That
like
sucks.
in the midst of a pandemic also. So it's like you're also not supposed to be near other people.
It's like, do you need another sign to get the fuck out of there? Like the world shut down and then they burned you out of your house, bitch. move.
Yeah, it was raining ash for like months and months, and I'm used to it. I'm from California.
Yeah,
like,
it happens all
ash,
the time.
Ash
around
rain
here.
is a season.
Yeah,
but like
it's a season.
it's not supposed to be half the year.
Yeah, that's a part of the weather, that forecast.
Yeah, it's a couple months, like maybe a few.
We haven't had dude, what about all this fucking rain that we went through? Everything is so green and goddamn ridiculous. You want more?
I want more rain.
You liked it? Okay. What do you feel about the rain?
Rain's good. It looks like my childhood when I go around California now instead of a parched fucking wasteland.
It's nice and green. Yeah, that's good. We'll see. And when I went to Tennessee back in 2017, it was February. It was the end of winter. All the trees were dead, or they looked dead. There's no leaves on anything. Mm-hmm. I was sold. Oh, it's so beautiful there. It's green and forest and lakes. And then you go and it looks like nuclear winter. Mm-hmm. What the fuck is this?
That's what happens when you have seasons.
Here. Yeah, I didn't know that's what a season was. I didn't know they fucking shaved all the trees of leaves and crap.
Yeah, the daddy trees taught the son trees how to shave, and then sometimes they get nicks on the bark, but overall they learn something, and it's a great bonding experience.
Do you think your dad ever shaves his dick and balls? What is this? Tennessee. Yeah, that is Tennessee River. That's what I was told it looked like. And we went there and it looked like a background set in The Walking Dead. It was terrifying.
But not
I was waiting to be wowed in any way by Tennessee, and I wasn't. And I was so upset.
See,
and it turns out
they're not the backgrounds that you see when you turn on like your MacBook or your Windows computer or anything like that. They have those photos up north.
Yeah, that's California. that's where Apple gets all their photos from. So they got their OSs are like Yosemite and like El Capitan, and it's for a reason.
We were talking before he got here. I was trying to talk to him about his interest in hip hop and what kind of like drove that and what attracted him to that. But and I was talking about my really unfortunate like hipsterism assholeness about music and why like that music like doesn't speak to me about anything I've been going through type of thing.
So did you just like bands that all started with the?
Well, kind of. Fucking roasted.
I'm sorry. There's no, like everybody's like, I like the Shins, the Strokes, the TV on the radio. I'm just gonna
the TV
Jam,
on the radio,
the Clash.
Yeah.
I like the Jam
The
and I like the
Blinks,
Clash and
the Sum.
But I do not like the Strokes or the Shins. How dare you? That's funny. I like the bands that they throw the in front of the name, but it's not actually part of the name. Like the Ramones, the Sex Pistols, the Adolescents.
Yeah.
Things like those punk bands.
The Thus.
That's a band.
I recently learned that the and the were actually separate words
There's
in
two
Old
E's.
English.
Yeah, 2 E's for the.
No, like it was Old English was a gendered language, like how in Spanish it's el and la. So like the and the were separate, like gendered.
Oh, okay, like blonde and blonde.
Yeah,
What?
and then but it like converged into just being the same word.
Weird.
That's all the context I'm going to give you.
That's fine. That's so interesting. I mean, I'm curious to see how language completely fucks itself over. Not over, but just adapts and grows. And it's so wild. Like I use words every day that I wasn't using last year, and I'm like, ugh, how could I?
I feel like it'll eventually just evolve the way Futurama got, where they were just the neutral people, where they're just like, I feel fine.
Dude,
You'll all talk like me, basically. Very basic. No actual emotions going into it.
Oh yeah, I think that the pharmaceuticals have kind of given people that cadence in their voice here. Also, not to bag on Lompoc any more than it already gets shit on. Everyone here has to be like on heroin when they drive. No one can reach the fucking speed limit, and everyone drives slow. I'm always like, are you fucking kidding me? Stuck behind people.
I have two thoughts on that.
Bring it,
One
bitch.
of them is the fentanyl's crazy.
It
like
is.
people are walking around like literal zombies.
Yeah.
I was at Dollar General and it felt like we were in like sort of like a dull moment in The Walking Dead or like the first round of Nazi zombies. Like where they're not really trying to get you yet. Like people
In
are
Call of
literally
Duty.
just wandering around the parking lot in circles. They weren't asking for money. They weren't trying to interact with anyone. They were just fucking wandering like just inexplicably in random directions.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. You guys get bothered by like homeless people asking for money very often, or because they're everywhere. I can't remember the last time one said something to me.
The last time I got asked for money was in Slow, and the dude was wearing a fucking shirt with a tie and like looked like he got beat the fuck up and was just like, "Hey, I can't work because I got beat the fuck up. Can I have some money?" I was like, "Yeah, like that's you seem like a reasonable guy."
Almost bought it. Fuck.
I was like, even if you're buying drugs, like fucking good on you for going to the Goodwill and getting a tie or some shit.
Yeah,
like,
he's trying.
Yeah,
most
like-
people do not.
yeah, fucking up your hustle. Like fucking step your shit up.
When
This
yeah, seriously. Dude, there people just are not hustling. They're even lazy. That's how lazy people are. Is like, first of all, they don't want to work, and they end up, some of them, in the situations that they do, and then they're homeless, and then they're just kind of like, here's my like bad sign. I was walking into Walmart today, and there was a guy sitting there, and he was just shaking a sign in front of his face, and I gotta be honest, I've seen better sign waivers. I was like, you know what? All of these homeless people have a perfect job. They could be waving those fucking signs for Little Caesars and the realty place. They could be spinning the arrows, and I don't know why. Like, at least you're getting paid for it. I think you actually might make more money as a homeless person with a sign on the corner than those people spinning signs.
I have heard that.
Yeah, I've heard. My mom used to want to just like dress in like worn clothes and just go stand on a corner of like by a freeway one day. This is years ago, before like homeless people were like the second pandemic. And she wanted to see how much money we could make.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
I mean, think about it. Like if like 4 people an hour give you $5, like you're basically making
That's like almost my
Yeah,
fucking
that's-
wage. That's
yeah.
and it's taxless. That's amazing.
you could
That's
actually make pretty good money like
fucking
that.
good. Yeah.
My other thought on the Lompoc drivers being terrible was like, yes, and when we're in the Bay Area, and for whatever reason, especially near Oakland, it was worse than that. Like I was trying to merge onto an interstate and someone was going 25 fucking miles an hour. Like I had to do so many ridiculous sketchy maneuvers to get up to speed around them and get in with the flow of traffic. And that wasn't even just one person. It was like every single time I got onto an interstate, we were behind someone going 45 or less. I was like, dude, it's an interstate. That's you slump your seat back a little bit, go 100 and get where you're
Exactly.
going. Stop.
Exactly. I don't know if you've ever studied anthropology. Oakland is not known for people not doing drugs. And the Bay Area in general has as many turds as they do needles on the ground in San Francisco. I don't know what it is about that place that attracts that kind of not a faction. It's not.
Yeah.
Weather's good here. The weather's, if not better.
Yeah.
Moved back was, how can you not be on a sick one 24/7 if the weather is beautiful? I mean, you don't have to worry about, I'm just gonna fucking sweat bullets and just be dying. Nah, man, it's like 62 degrees. You can be as high as you fucking want, 24/7.
You don't need a sleeping bag.
No,
It goes down to
you can just post up on the
-20.
sidewalk, call it good.
Yeah. People die in Chicago from the elements.
People die in fucking Denver from the elements.
Yeah.
But you're out here and it's like, the weather's beautiful. I can be high year round. You could be 3 o'clock in the morning. You're not cold. It feels
Not
good.
cold.
Yeah, it feels
Damn.
good. You're like, damn, I need a cigarette. This feels great.
There might be that they might have like the key to happiness, and we're actually like the suckers that are trying to like earn a living wage and find a home and get new crock pots and shit.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we're on the right side of everything. I had someone recently come up to me and we're having a pretty normal like business type interaction, and then out of nowhere she just looks at me like she just had a realization and she was like, you're Calderon. And I was like, no, that's not me. And she's like, yeah, you are. I remember you. We used to have a great time. Like, you're so fun. We used to, remember when we used to live carefree in the riverbed and we just do whatever we wanted to do? And I was like, no, that's not me. She's like, yeah, I remember. Remember when you built that hot tub? Like, that was awesome. And I was like, no, like, that is not. I remember when you and your wife went to Knott's Berry Farm and brought a hat back for me. And it's like, well, I don't have the hat right now, but I remember. You're fucking cool, man. And at first I was like, I never took my wife to Knott's Berry Farm, and I was like, when I really thought about it, I was like, man, I want to talk to her again because I build hot tubs in the riverbed?
Yeah, I sound pretty fucking interesting.
Yeah, what if I'm the one who's wrong and she's right? And even if that's not the case, at the end of the day, I just really want to know, like, how are they building hot tubs down there? Like, do they just have a kiddie pool and they got some water in there and the sun heated it up? Or, like...
Did they have a heating element that heated it up? Like, they did, like, a campfire stove and the water got, like, just zesty enough?
Yeah, or do they just got, like, a crazy straw and they're just blowing bubbles? Like, what are they, like, it could be they countersunk, like, a fucking pool into the sand, and then they, like, got, like, some sort of, like, a motorcycle battery and, like, some pumps. And
it sounds like you actually might have built this hot tub, dude. You might be called around.
I might have. I've been thinking about it a lot. And, I really wanted to run into her again just so I could ask those questions. And then I saw her, like, talking at the sky, like, in the alley behind the brewery. And I realized that I did not, in fact, want to talk to her anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of a dead...
But, if anyone listening knows someone who builds hot tubs in the riverbed, like, please reach out to me. I'd like to know more.
Calderon. Sounds like a local legend out there. Local riverbed legend. I got a little shit storm on Facebook about 6 months ago, or Facebook, maybe Instagram, I forget, but it was during all the rain, and I posted this joke, and I said I was praying for a solution to all this poor homeless in the riverbed. I didn't realize God was going to drown them and wash their bodies away. I had apparently multiple people upset at me about this. No hot tubs anymore.
I knew the person that gave birth in the riverbed.
Oh my God, there's a person that gave birth in the riverbed? Yeah. That sounds hectic.
During the storms in January, there was somebody that ended up actually giving birth in the riverbed underneath the bridge going...
That's right.
Yeah, so it was somebody that I knew way, way back. They let her, like, actually hold the baby after she gave birth.
I mean, it's her child.
Well, yeah, but she was on drugs, obviously.
Oh, what'd the baby come out like? I mean, not like was it black or anything. Was it a person?
Like, Facebook pictures look completely normal, and like the dad looks fairly normal, but like the mom is just, oh my God, high as hell, and like looks bad.
Oh my God.
The father of the child was like on drugs or anything.
I don't think
he was there, and he had like helped. I thought.
Supportive dad.
Yeah.
Like, in spite of the circumstances, just fucking there for his kid. Like, it was bizarre to see all the photos. And
I want to see these photos because I knew this happened. I didn't realize there was pictures.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. And I don't mean like a damn that's crazy, like boring story. I mean like, God damn, that's fucking bananas, dude.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's unfortunate, like, that, like, people have to resort to living in the riverbed. And I always wonder what the little trigger, what the little push that someone needs to go down that road in life. Because it could literally be any of us.
I mean, I gotta be honest, the dad also looks like he's on drugs.
Yeah, fair enough.
Not as bad. He doesn't look as bad. That doesn't mean he doesn't look like he's on drugs.
Like, he's like dosing meth.
It looks like, yeah. I love people who skip right to the hand tattoos and just have no tattoos on their arms. So what the fuck is that about? Well, respect to them. And the baby looks grumpy as hell. Looks, gave birth to me in a riverbed, guys.
Yeah.
God.
I mean, it's not how, like, Moses got, like, pushed out into the river.
That was back when, like, rivers were clean, though. The only thing in there was
malaria rivers. Yeah, so clean. So clean.
I mean, they're malaria rivers now.
Yeah.
They were plague rivers back then.
The first one.
Oh, the poor friggin' baby looks like it's had a tough life already.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. She she looks like her astrological sign is methadone. Fuck. You guys think you'll ever have kids? Or I mean, can you even have kids? I don't know. Even like I forget that like some people just straight up are like, oh, I had my balls cut off in Afghanistan. There's no, I cannot have kids.
No, we won't have any kids. It's not.
All right.
It's not in the cards. Doesn't sound fun.
Well,
That's fucking terrible.
why?
I don't like kids.
I mean, a lot of people don't like kids, but they love their kids because it's like it's them. It's a product of them. It's very like. I'm not arguing. I don't have any kids.
You want me to speak to it?
I mean, I don't.
I do. Talk to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
So I partially raised my younger sister growing up. She just graduated from Berkeley a couple weeks ago. So the first time, like, I started taking
Now
her.
she's stuck in traffic in Oakland.
Yeah, basically. She still lives up there. And so I remember taking her to school when at Megalito for like preschool and kindergarten and whatnot, and people thought I was her parent. I was like fucking 14 years old.
Yeah.
And
What a
like,
whore.
Helped her. Yeah, I know. I'm like, what the fuck do you think I was doing? I was actually doing terrible things, but not that. But me and my siblings all helped kind of like build her up and take care of her throughout the years, and we dedicated a lot of time to that. And it's pretty thankless.
It's pretty thankless.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
I got no joy out of that.
No
joy. After everything was said and done, like she graduated and we went to her graduation. We didn't make it out for cocktails, so she's pretty mad at me still. She won't talk to me. It's cool.
Oh. Yeah. Way to
but,
go, Mom.
Yeah, but otherwise, no, kids just aren't in the cards. Like
Fair enough.
I don't get that same draw that a lot of people did. And even when I was younger, like, and thought about it, it's like, oh, I could maybe have kids one day. I don't want fucking kids.
Yeah, I mean, I was really not attracted to the idea for a long time. I think it might just be like a biological imperative because of my age, but it's like the ideas become a little glossier in my mind. And also, I've had a couple friends have kids, and I'm like, okay, if these retards can do it, then I should be fine.
From my perspective, I have very few friends who actually like have kids.
Yeah,
Like I think I have
that's
like
true. Like
legitimately like one friend who has kids.
I can count on
And he
one
has-
hand friends who have kids that are at least in my age bracket, my graduating class, especially. Like,
But think about the people that like we hung out with in high school. Like how many of them have kids? How many of them are married?
they're at least divorced. Like, there's not kids going around. Yeah,
Yeah, like just not a lot of kids. Like I don't.
no. They're a little late. I think all the microplastics made everyone infertile, anyways.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of
seed
that.
oils
I think
and microplastics
economically, like
it's not a
it
good
doesn't
idea.
seem like a good idea.
Economically, the most responsible people we know don't have kids, right?
And I grew up like growing up. My dad always told me like not to have kids. He was like,
Oh, well, that's rude.
well, no, he was like, don't have kids; they'll ruin your life. And then
That's not what I want to hear from my parent at all.
yeah, I was like, he elaborated. It was like, it's not that like it ruins the life that you had. Once you have those kids, you're not the center of the universe anymore. You can't just go do dumb shit. That kid is now your responsibility until the end of time. So you have to make those adjustments to your life. So the life that you used to have, it's dead. Like, and now you have a new one. It might be better than the old one, but like, it's gone.
Well, that's what I'm saying is a lot of people I know that have kids, or at least that I see, they weren't really like that interesting before, and now they get to fulfill their story and their life as adults and get to raise someone and get to like give a person someone else a chance at this fucking hell we call life. It's just really curious because there's like there's part of me that's like, my life isn't so interesting that I need to be stuck and glued to what I'm doing. So if a kid happened, I would just be like, oh, that's the point of all this. That's where I go from there. I don't know why I asked. I think it's just maybe it's because I have both of you here, and I don't know, just comes up. Just think about it.
No, I get it. I get the draw.
Like we're all here because we're someone's kid,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like it's interesting to not participate.
I think everyone likes teaching other people, and like
there's
you get to be the coach of like some little fool who kind of looks like you. Like, yeah, like it's cool.
There's this weird narcissism in coaching and teaching. Also, the two people who martyr themselves bigger than anyone I know: teachers, teachers and mothers. They just they just go, you see what I've done for you, and just expect so much more. And it's like, no, you did this to yourself. The thankless part.
What you've done for me? You brought me into this world. I didn't ask for that.
Yeah. The thankless part, you're probably spot on. But also, it's it seems intentional that people go become teachers, coaches, and parents for the most part in a first world society. And it's kind of annoying. I hate it. I'm kind of annoyed at or even like when I'm trying to teach someone something, I'm like, hey, I feel pretty good about this. It's weird. There's some narcissism in that.
Yeah. I also feel like having kids is kind of weird. Like I get it's like the biological imperative. That's essentially what we're here for, is to just like reproduce, like ad infinitum, like no matter what kind of biological species you are, from plants to whatever the more complex version of us may be. But like it's also kind of it's just like strange. It's like you're forcing someone to be your homie, and then so often you just abandon that little homie. Like, how are you going to do that?
And people
you forcibly bring someone into the world and then be like, figure it out.
Do you think it does something to certain people mentally and they're not strong enough? It like turns them insane, and then they just start like directing negative things and abuse towards the weakest, most vulnerable thing around them?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel, yeah.
Do you think that your dad or your parents in any way, shape, or form have like a second chance at accessing the life they used to have before you guys, and that's what they're like yearning for? Do you think that, like, people like take it out on their kids because they don't get to be like hot young single people anymore? I love the give me that mic, bitch.
So I think it really depends, because I think for some parents, like especially maybe like from like our parents' generation or anything, where they kind of stumbled into the role, basically, because a lot of our parents, I don't know about you guys, like my parents didn't plan on fucking having me.
Yeah, my mom refers to us as surprises.
Oops, fuck, I fucked up.
Mm-hmm. I was actually born 6 months after my parents got married.
Yeah, so I mean, there's really no planning that goes into that, but there's always that, like, you stumble into the role and you're like, oh, well, I'm not doing half fucking bad, and you just kind of you float through it, and you're like, you feel good about what you're doing when you're successful at something, and something is panning out the way that you envision that it'll pan out. So you hope to relive that situation.
That's fair.
And I don't think that anybody gets that opportunity to relive a situation again the way you ever want to, no matter how much you envision it or how you try to plan it or anything. Like there is no reliving something.
It's weird. I feel like there's so much nostalgia-driven things in life, and maybe nostalgia is a key component of being a parent, and that is you loving yourself is how you will teach and help someone else live life, because you know what it takes to make yourself the utmost highest caliber. I hope. I mean, at least we try. We know what we think makes us cool, and I mean, I know I'm probably wrong about myself, but you're like, oh, my little dude's gonna be at least half as cool as me,
Conversely, if you hated your childhood, you're either gonna to accidentally recreate that shit on that kid, or compensate for it, do well, or overcompensate.
Yeah, maybe
for it.
overcompensate. Maybe
I think everything we do is reactionary to what we've learned as children.
Yeah. Well, gosh, so you guys learned no kids. Is that?
Yeah, I don't know. When my mom was my age, she was dead. So I don't.
She wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, she wasn't. I don't think she's trying to chase nostalgia right now. So.
Yeah. So your mom was lazy at your age, is what you're saying?
God damn it.
This is public. Oh, God. Yeah.
How
100%.
old was your mom when she died?
She was 24.
So her brain wasn't even fully developed before she died?
Yeah.
And she still managed to have you?
Mm-hmm.
That's a sweet lady.
Yeah.
If you could talk to your mom right now, what would you say?
I always hate those questions.
Good.
I don't think I have anything specific. I'd say it would be weird. Like, I think I'd be fearful because, like I'm not too fond of zombies. I already grabbed a beer. Yeah.
Thank you.
No, there's so much I missed out on. I was like 4 years old when she passed away, and so there's just like it leaves like a pretty big void in your life, the same way that losing a parent does, regardless of how you lose that parent. I know a lot of people struggle with like being raised by like single parents or with a step kind of dynamic, or people are orphaned. So like, some people had it worse than me. I think I'm more just curious about who she was as a person, like on a one-on-one basis, rather than like what my life would have been like if I had a mom, like that kind of thing. I think it's more just like,
that's an answer for
where
me.
the fuck do I come from?
That is
why are you? Do we share anything in common?
People tell you do when you have certain mannerisms or things. They go, "You are so your mother's child," or that is absolutely just. Like
I've never
your mom.
really gotten it for like the behavioral characteristics. Like when I was younger, I looked a lot more like her.
Yeah.
But like as an adult,
she didn't
I
have
look
a
more
beard.
like my dad. Yeah, no beard.
Dad
But I look
has-
more like my
might have-
dad now.
Yeah, if it checks out. So when we were teenagers, I used to always make dead dad jokes. And Taaffe used to always make dead mom jokes. So we filled out I just heard one he made. It still happens. So we used to make these.
I buried the lead on it too.
Yeah, he did. Dude, he fucking got me hook, line, and sinker. Oh, man. So good. I fucking appreciate that.
She
Dark
lives on
humor.
South C Street, if anyone wants to.
I was born on South C Street. I'm curious. You guys ever curious where you were made? What is it called?
Conceived?
That's the one. Conceived.
I don't want to know. I'm good on that one. I know. So I was born in September. So like it's
You're
definitely did the clock hit midnight? I thought it was just supposed to be a kiss.
Oh, fuck. Well, it's actually like about a 10-month gestation. So maybe you were a Christmas present. That you were a Christmas present that could have been a blowjob. I was 4th of July summer sex for sure. There's no doubt about it. I'm still so patriotic. It makes perfect sense.
Well, I'm born in February. My grandfather died, I think, the year before. So I'm probably like the combination of like sad, drunken, just
Sympathy sex or something.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, no. Upstate New York, sad fucking sympathy sex.
How could you be sad in upstate New York? It's so beautiful.
Oh, it's very easy. My grandfather drove himself into a frozen lake.
Why would he do that?
Suicide, obviously.
I was gonna bring this up. I was gonna bring this up like 3 dead parent jokes ago. But do you think suicide exists in other species other than humans? I'm not sure that it does. I don't know for sure. But I've always thought about sometimes when you see roadkill.
No, isn't that like homicide?
That's voluntary. That's when you.
Like fucking get decapitated. I don't know, like animals feel feelings. I don't know if they have that call of the void.
Do you think enough of them are like, I didn't amount to much. I don't think it's getting any easier from here on out.
I feel like probably animals don't have the same existential like crises that we do. Like I'd hope not, at least, because this shit sucks.
Is it weird that this shit is really
like life is bleak, even if it's in its greatest moments. Like the ability to like contemplate your mortality is a curse.
What'd you say?
I was like, welcome to Dallas's bleakest.
Oh, you wish.
I feel like, as an answer to that, I feel like maybe Depends on the animal. Smarter animals probably contemplate that shit. Like crows. Crows are probably sitting there like, I could just fucking go out in front of that car right now. Just fucking end this shit.
They kind of flirt with disaster when they drop the walnuts in front of the cars. I actually befriended crows when I lived at my mom's. I used to go out of my way to drive over the walnuts, and I'd step on them when I saw them out here because I used to park my cars out here.
Yeah.
And they used to leave like rocks and presents on our doorstep and shit. And it was super, and I'd always like hear them, and then I'd open the door and there'd be like something on the fucking doorstep or the patio, and they're always like really cool like things. And I used to think kids were doing it, and then one day I like found out, oh, it's fucking crows, and this is actually like a relation they have with like a relationship.
Yeah, like the mutualistic.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about wanting to do that lately, but like I want it to be like in a neighborhood I know I'm going to be in for a while. So
Yeah.
I really want to cultivate that relationship. I want to train crows to like be able to carry firearms and go do robberies for me. It's so much plausible deniability,
I think that the animal control will profile them for being black and probably I don't think they'll be able to get away with that.
I'm going to go down for it though, like how are they going to prove that,
I know all they do all look alike.
Or like tie a little knife to like one of their fucking
like cockfighting, like little fucking razors.
What would you do if like a murder of crows came up to you all armed and like
murdered me? No, I would have nothing.
Like you give them your wallet, like if they started attacking you, like with blades and shit.
Fucking
like,
man,
shit, they probably want that. They drive away with your car, like
that'd be fucked up.
Because I think from what I read, the smartest crows.
That'd be funny if they took a Thunderbird too.
I think the smartest crows are like they have like the cognition of like an average like 3.5 to 4-year-old child, and that's the smartest one. So if you think like a 2-year-old human like in bird form is kind of terrifying. Like, I mean, 2-year-olds can fuck some shit up,
dude. Toddlers in human form are terrifying.
Yeah. Make them fly. Like, no, little Jimmy going through his terrible twos in his no phase with wings and claws.
What a little.
You need like a fucking just a fire launcher of some sort.
Flamethrower, yeah. Absolutely.
One of Elon's flamethrowers.
It's not a flamethrower.
Like when Stabler on Organized Crime, where he had the fucking like
the RPG.
Yeah.
I love Law and Order universe. Fucking Dick Wolf.
Yeah.
Based ass name too.
I really hope he was born like Richard Wolf and he's not just making it up.
Yeah, why? I mean,
just as a kid, like as a 6-year-old, they already called him Dick.
They're like, he is such a joy to be around. It's just like, a little.
Have you ever met someone like where they always get referred to by like their whole name? No. Like imagine a 6-year-old that you called by their full name. Like imagine that level of respect. There's a 6-year-old and it's like, that's Dick Wolf. Like that's.
You know what? They were always bullies. If someone called someone by their whole name, you avoided that person. They were a piece of shit.
It's that level of respect.
It's the level of
fear.
Yeah, it's not even respect. It's fear. They're respecting how much they're scared of them. They respected the safety of them because there's a few bullies that come to mind, and it's always a full name basis. I really hope no one knows me by it.
The names.
No, I can't. Couldn't possibly. I know one of them does jujitsu in Santa Maria, and then the other one was like dating someone that was like a mutual friend, and then the other one I have no idea what happened to him. Redacted.
Friend of the pod.
Yeah, not. Yeah, big no on those.
What's your favorite thing about Lompoc?
Leaving.
Just in general, just a very broad statement.
Leaving.
It's leaving. Oh, I thought you. Yeah.
I'm there with him.
Yeah, but that's not a quality. I've had this exact. It's not a positive quality about a place if the best part of it is leaving.
My favorite thing about Lompoc is how often it's overcast weather here. I feel as much as there is like a certain disdain we have for the city we live in, there's also like when I go other places, I feel better than them and tougher than them, and I feel like we live in like the I don't know how to put it. Like there's definitely like a culture to this place that is not replicated anywhere nearby.
I can put up with more bullshit than you.
Yeah, I can put up with more bullshit. We have almost as much crime as Santa Maria. We have the gang violence. We have the drug problem, but we also, I don't think I like anything about this place actually. No, I'm kidding. But it feels like there's a toughness to coming from here that is not present anywhere else on the Central Coast.
I feel like Lompok's like the actual blue collar place.
Yeah,
like for large swaths of the population. It's not like if you go to 5 cities, there's a shitload of like vacation homes, and if you go in any direction, it's tourism and that.
Yeah,
like
wine country.
There's a mine like 2 miles south of here.
Yeah,
like my uncle spent his entire career working in a mine. There's oil fields. There's an Air Force base. There's
a prison.
And then a whole bunch of agriculture is the rest of it surrounding this area. I feel like it's just, if you explained Lompoc without ever mentioning that it was by the ocean or that it was in California, you could be easily talking about
somewhere
Wyoming,
in
Indiana, Kansas, Iowa, the Great Lakes region, somewhere in the South, Texas, anywhere. It's like any town but California.
Yeah, I think you're really spot on. And it's really funny when people are here from Vandenberg and they're like, oh, this is great. You know where I'm from? It's dog shit. It is flat. We're not this close to the beach. And they think Lompoc's like awesome. And you realize like how good we have it. Like, don't get me wrong. Still dislike things about Lompoc, but I've definitely learned and my perspective has been widened on things to appreciate just in the proximity of the
Imagine
area.
being from North Dakota.
Yeah. No, thank you. That sounds awful.
That's my mom's side of the family. Like my grandpa and grandma were from North Dakota and Minnesota, respectively, across the river, like on the border of the 2 states.
Oh,
like that's why they stayed here.
Nice. That sounds kind of nice.
I guess they do have a cute story. Like how they met. Yeah. My grandpa like went to the wrong place and accidentally stood up his date, and then my grandma got stood up by her date, and then they ended up at the same place at the same time and met each other.
That is so cute.
Yeah.
What give me more details. Do you remember any more?
No, that's the general. That's what I know. They were married for my grandpa was 20. So they got married in about 53. They're 60. 62 years. Like, wow. Like how long they were married.
That's intense. That's a long time.
They made the joke at us after our 1 year of being together.
Yeah. They're like, hey, be careful. 1 year turns into 60 real quick.
Damn. How long you guys been married? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've been married for 3 years. We got married New Year's Eve 2019 going into 2020, but we observe it for New Year's Day 2020 for tax purposes, of course. Yeah. Nice.
Fuck the IRS.
And we were gonna do an actual celebration out here in California because we just did the courthouse wedding, self-solemnized at home because you don't need anybody to be present in the state of Colorado. So we were going to celebrate it out here summer 2020.
What happened?
I don't know. Fucking
just gave up on that.
I guess like the world just fucking imploded. I guess
Yeah, it felt like the world stopped.
Yeah, everybody just like stopped fucking doing things. I heard you guys like completely shut down way worse than we did in Colorado. Because like out in Colorado, we just didn't give a fuck out there.
Weird, because you guys seem fine. It's almost like they went too.
Yeah, I didn't get COVID till I moved out here.
I didn't get COVID until Ukraine was getting their shit but get pushed in by Russia. Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
Yeah, no.
People were like, "Ew, you got COVID? That's so last year." Like, COVID was done.
Yeah, no,
people were like, "You didn't even change your profile picture to stand with Ukraine."
It was pretty brutal.
We didn't get COVID till 2022.
2023 for me.
Yeah.
No, 2022.
Yeah, it was in the summer. And it was shitty. Like it was worse than I thought it was gonna be. Like after being vaccinated. So yay.
And I talked about that with someone on the last podcast because he was like, it was Palmdale. He was like, not I'm about to get political. You vaxxed? You don't look like a person who's vaccinated. And I was like, no, I am not vaccinated. I have pure blood and semen. And I told him, I was like, it wasn't even that I was like against a vaccine. I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to wait till everyone else gets it. So I make sure we're not getting like a Tuskegee experiment on everyone.
But my thing is I've already put enough terrible things into my body.
Right.
What's one more goddamn thing?
Yeah, right.
And
I understand
it made my
that.
family feel more comfortable. So it was just like, I moved back here under the idea of spending more time with my family.
Yes.
Do I? No.
It was a good idea though.
But it was a good idea at the time.
And you know what? And I know a lot of people who were vaccinated. I'm really thankful that they're perfectly fine because you hear all kinds of shit now coming out about it that's just really negative, and then that sucks. And it basically turned me into someone who looks and talks like a very anti-vaxxer in general. Because of it.
I get the skepticism for sure, but it's always like the
I wasn't even skeptical. Yeah. I was just like, I'm just gonna wait till I can, it's my turn.
With it's not the correlation and causation line. Definitely, where does it fall? I don't know. I'm not here to debate that.
I'm good. I'm not here either, so we don't have to. That's fine. God, getting COVID. Yeah, I got COVID. It wasn't too bad. Like, honestly,
I was coughing for you still can't smell though. So
was that
that was one of the symptoms.
COVID related?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I got COVID again. Yeah, I still can't smell, but honestly, it's a kind of a low key superpower.
I guess.
You didn't have to smell the guy that fucking bathed in milk at the brewery the other night.
Yeah, that didn't have to smell him.
Like
I haven't smelled a fart in God knows how long. This year, at least.
Pretty nice
Public restrooms are so much nicer than they've ever been. Old lady perfume is a thing of the past, just like the old ladies who probably died wearing it. It's not,
But like food and how beer smells and the smell of a fresh ball sack smacking you in the face in the morning.
I'll tell you what though. So I don't smell the actual smells. I smell like genres of it smells like someone mixed up all the smells and they came out with new colors. I know how crazy that sounds or how it doesn't make sense, but I walked by the leather wallets and shit in Walmart today, and it was like I was like, what the fuck is that? That's not right. And I was like, that must be the wallets, because every time I walked by they smelled like leather. Weird, but it didn't smell like leather, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't smell like that. Like cooked food, armpits, and like they all smell alike to me.
I guess it makes sense. It's like a spectrum of loss.
Yeah.
With blindness, it's not, and deafness, it's not just.
It is. It's like
not a light switch.
It's like a light spectrum through your nose. It's a sense spectrum, and it's like I have the cement, but I don't have the rest of the house. It's weird.
I worked with someone who lost their sense of taste and smell from COVID, during the kind of beginning of all the shutdowns, that first summer of 2020.
Yeah.
And I feel like she actually came out on top because she didn't have to smell all the fucking tequila scented hand sanitizer that was going around.
Those were a joy.
I hated it.
Did you ever get the hand sanitizer that felt like cum in your hands?
I felt cum in my hands, so I didn't really. By the time hand sanitizer came around, I was like, "This wasn't so bad."
It was literally hand sanitizer that felt like cum.
Was it white?
Was made in Morro Bay. No, it was just sticky and dried wrong. It was.
But it smelled like tequila.
Yeah, all the distilleries started making fucking hand sanitizer, and then the government taxed them
fucking
on
assholes.
it, hard. I think any distillery making hand sanitizer basically got hit with a $15,000 one-time tax for not being FDA approved. Sick.
There is not a single 3-letter organization that is related to the government that I don't want to just blow up, unless it's one you work for. It is just.
No, we're good everywhere on that.
That's good.
Especially the FDA.
Fucking dick asses.
We got beef.
Bleep.
It's funny. It's funny how many things are approved by the FDA and then they just revoke them or they have to pull them. And it's like, but you guys were the ones who said it was okay.
Yeah,
and then I'm getting frowned upon for the stuff that wasn't approved by you assholes. I don't feel like you guys are so omnipotent and all-knowing anyways.
They're just people at the end of the day.
That's
and if
the
you have
thing.
enough
That's
lobbying
the
power-
thing. That's the worst thing. That is the stupidest, most worst part. Fucking annoying. Think about the stupidest assholes you know, like people who were given birth in the fucking riverbed, and then there's just people that they're related to that you know that just work for other companies, and then you owe them money just because they're like, you're born. And if you don't pay them, someone with a gun shows up at your door. It's mobbed up. It is horrible.
How the fuck did he get so far?
I know it wasn't his looks, that's for sure.
No, he looks like a turtle.
I keep thinking about
Turtles are
that
cute,
song.
though.
Yeah, he's not a cute
I
turtle.
keep thinking about that song, like you'll likely outlive Mitch McConnell or whatever.
One day he'll be McGonnell.
Yeah.
I love
Waiting
that.
for
Sounds
McConnell
great.
dead.
God. Just like people like that, where it's just like this
How the fuck did you
motherfucker.
get here?
It's just
And
like
everyone in Congress makes so much money on
It's like
insider trading.
I talked to people that lived in Kentucky. Like I worked with a guy that lived out there, and he talked about like everybody fucking hates Mitch McConnell. I don't understand how he keeps getting reelected. He was like, but he does. Yeah.
Gerrymandering.
I mean, yeah, that's ultimately what it is. But he's
yeah.
just like everybody fucking hates him.
if he'd stepped down, I'd be just as happy as I was when Nancy Pelosi stepped down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't take
It's
for that.
not-
You should
it's-
just fucking step down. You guys are old. Step aside. Step aside.
What are you even trying to like? You're not going to participate in the future that you're building.
Yeah,
He's
and-
like
Like, you can
hand
outlast-
shaking, fucking like mouth agape, like
If you see someone with their mouth agape driving around, that's the average age of Congress.
yeah.
Like
Isn't
you ever
that
see that? Where,
wild?
like
Yeah,
people who
yeah.
look flabbergasted that they're alive and they're confused by their surroundings.
Yeah, there's
like
what's
age
that
group,
old
you know?
Bill Burr bit where like there's old and then there's that old where the guy just goes around looking horrified all the time like that is exactly it. That's
Yeah,
fucking
that is the
spot
age
on.
group that should not be representing us
They
like
should
in
not be
government.
making rules and laws for us, and
And
it
I
is
feel like
awful.
I feel like I don't know if there should be a specific age cutoff either because that seems
Like you're taking
it's a-
rights from old people
Yeah, it's
who
a
might
slippery slope.
want them.
Because when you start just putting lines on shit, it's a slippery slope to eugenics and like
It's a
all that
slippery
kind of
slope
shit.
to just fascism in general, and like eugenics. And
So I think it would be a slippery slope. Like I know, for example, like my grandmother, she came out for Aaron's graduation a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And my grandmother's like 76 years old. She went out to the brewery with us. She went down to PCH with us. She still stayed up until 10 p.m. She drove all the way out here from Palm Springs and then did all of that with us. Tell me that
Gangster.
you know another person in their 70s that's going to fucking like drive 350 miles and then go out like basically bar hopping.
yeah, that's pretty fucking lit. Your grandma sounds fun.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not typical for most people, and
Yeah, you
she
can't
would have
put a
been.
line on it for people like that, but maybe we just shouldn't be voting for like geriatric.
Yeah, what the fuck is that shit about? I think you should have to put your age next to your name on the ballots.
Yeah.
I think
'cause-
actually she's even in favor of that, honestly, because there's been times where she looks and she's, oh well, they shouldn't be running for any sort of election. Their time has passed. It's like, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think there should absolutely be like a consorted spectrum of people, so you get this represented age. Excuse me. So it isn't just this unilateral thing like it is now, where it's only fucking old people and then like a couple people in their 30s and 40s or some shit. It's just gross. It's just gross that like even the people we have to look forward to are already just playing the same bullshit. These younger people in Congress, these younger people,
they're playing the same exact.
they're
game.
doing the same exact corrupt bullshit, and it sucks that it's
And
like I feel like no matter what we do on this outside, that's just the real ruling class of things, and then they're just tinkering away at the lives and rights and realities that we have to face and suffer in this fucking megaplex of
Yeah, and I feel like we have a new playbook too after the
Cronyism.
past, 6 to 8 years that we experienced. Like, you know,
Yeah.
the person being in charge of the EPA being basically a fucking oil baron, like in the last administration before that's a little
Hilarious.
fucking wild.
Fucking hilarious.
Like, all right.
But 3-letter organization, bunch of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Can't go to the beach because the fucking EPA. I'm gonna go step on that bird when I see it.
Fucking what does
Snowy
EPA
plovers?
even stand for?
Environmental Protection Agency.
Like India Pale Ale? Yeah, it's an India Pale Ale,
It's
I
an
think, right?
India
It's an
Pale Ale.
IPA.
IPA.
Yeah.
IPA. That's from the Simpsons movie. All right, we all went there. Okay, good. Ah, man. Yeah, no. I am a very pro-American, anti-government person, and it unfortunately, I know that there's people out there that are my friends that see me and they think one thing and not the other, and maybe they're listening to my podcast. And maybe one day I get to clarify that for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like our founding fathers. You know, I don't like that they owned slaves. I wouldn't do that, but I also wouldn't.
I like Teddy Roosevelt.
He's my favorite.
You could find him
I was literally just looking for a Teddy Roosevelt poster for the office today because he's my favorite.
You could do a Venn diagram with DMX and Teddy Roosevelt because they were both Rough Riders.
That's true.
Stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop. Yeah.
That was Teddy Roosevelt.
Yep.
I can't believe how little we've talked about skateboarding. Mm-hmm. Is that okay?
To talk about skateboarding or how little we've talked about it?
Really, both.
Both? No, it's not okay.
You're right. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Want to talk about some skateboarding before we go? Before we wrap this up?
You know, I was thinking about it kind of earlier today, just kind of like in anticipation of being guest on this podcast.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about how like out of touch I am with skate brands, to like the contemporary skate brands and like pro skaters today, because like all of my idols are like 50.
Yeah.
Like that's
they're
what it feels
in
like.
their 40s. They're old enough.
Yeah,
It's
like all of
wild.
my idols are like around my parents' age at this point.
Isn't that weird? Where you're like, I never thought I'd like someone like this old ass's age.
Yeah. And they're still ripping. Like
Ripping.
Neen Williams, like
Love him.
dude, like went completely vegan and like works out and shit and is just ripping it still.
Is he
like
vegan?
it's badass.
Poor guy. That's probably why you don't see him skate so much. He probably broke something and they can't
I
heal
know, I
yet.
saw him like recently like shifty heel flipping like a
That's
fucking
all
15.
his heel flips are.
Yeah.
That wasn't recent. I guarantee it. When your terms of recent were the last 10 years, I guarantee he's not hucking down things. But I could be completely wrong. I'm just shitting on him if he's vegan, which is a powerful reflex of mine. Excuse me. I understand that, and it's so hard, and it sucks because it's like I want to be passionate and love skateboarding and feel good about like the board and stuff I'm riding, but I just go to the skate shops and I look at these things and I go, "Who the fuck is that guy?" And I'm like, I don't want that. And it literally like we are the new incarnation of like that old dude, that old fucking Dickies, old schools, and fucking Santa Cruz board and indie trucks. Like we are just whatever the next incarnation of that throwback skater
I'm wearing
is.
Dickies corduroy shorts. Like
You got the New Balances on. Those are fucking slick, though.
Yeah.
Dude, I love New
I've
Balance
never
shoes.
had a
They're
pair
so
before
cool.
because it's like they got co-opted by neo-Nazis in the past few years, but the New Balance skateboarding shoes,
Well, I mean,
they're pretty fucking nice.
There's like, they got co-opted by neo-Nazis?
Yeah, just the regular like New Balances.
Oh, the white ones?
Yeah, like the
No pun
the,
intended.
The
dad mowing the
mow your
lawn
lawn
ones,
Yeah, they just wanted to like look more presentable. So it's like weird, like just dad attire. Like I don't know. Probably just some
Yuck.
social media scaremongering shit.
Probably, but I missed it, though. So
Yeah.
I hate that I missed it. I didn't know that. I'm sure if I look back, I shared a meme about it, and I was in the know for about 3 days. But yeah, like fucking, I don't know if Dustin Dolan still has a pro model. I hardly see Tommy Sandoval decks out there, if at
Yeah,
all.
I never see those.
Fucking-
I've seen like Dustin Dolan skate like somewhat recently, but the last thing I remember seeing was like his battle with that giant bank where he's just ripping himself up. And it's just crazy. Like I'm wondering, like, is he still as drunk as he used to be? Like trying to do all that?
See, here's the thing about that is he's Australian. They have a whole different level of liver that we don't have. Like,
It's like Stu Graham too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if you're
Oh,
from
he-
Scotland, like
you
you
know,
have a different liver.
his daughter passed away a few years ago. She had, I believe, cancer. And it was just horrible to watch, like him kind of like try to crowdfund money for her and then lose her anyways. And not see like his skateboard anymore, and then like think like, damn, life comes at you like a motherfucker in this existential crisis.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some animals out there that are killing themselves.
Probably.
Yeah.
There's got to be.
I mean,
some of them
not
have to
all
think about it.
roadkill is my fault. One of those dudes was like, I'm done with this twigs and berries shit. I'm out.
Yeah, like I love skateboarding. It's like something that it's never not been a part of my life as long as I can remember. Like I started skating when I was like 5 probably.
Yeah.
On like one of those old school like 80s looking boards. It was probably like a complete that one of my uncles or someone like had as a kid that kind of got hand me down. And then I like growing up with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater being like super new and just all of that. I love the soundtracks too. Like sometimes I'll just hear songs from those original Tony Hawk games, and it's a huge like a nostalgia.
Yeah,
hit.
it's a huge part of the reason I like punk music in general. Is he was just this little like new wave punker kid who used to just go get fucking Addicts and Adolescence records and Devo, and he just shoved all that music from his childhood into his video games, and it's so cool. And the songs he couldn't get rights for, he'd get new bands to cover, or they'd do cover songs of those songs, and that's like how I know a lot of the fucking songs.
Yeah,
I love it. Tony Hawk's soundtracks shaped a whole different like genre of kids and music, and brought, I think, a lot of longevity to those bands and genres, at least, that would not exist without it. Saved rock and roll for me.
I'd say out of almost anything, that like skate videos themselves have been my biggest influence on music.
Absolutely.
There's so many bands I would have never heard about if it wasn't for just a skater's part that I really like.
No doubt in my mind. It is so integral. The Black Sabbath thing's a coincidence for me. Black Sabbath was one of the earliest memories I had was listening to the Ozman Cometh on a cassette tape in my mom's car. First 2 tracks are War Pigs and Black Sabbath outtakes, the songs, and they were just the most terrifying thing I'd ever heard in my life at that point. It didn't sound like what I knew music to be at 4 years old or 5 years old, and then it's all these Ozzy songs after that, and that is my like my lifeblood vein, my OG arc built for music. And then it turns out all my favorite skaters loved Black Sabbath, and there was a huge theme in their songs and parts. And then I heard Snowblind for Matt Allen's part in the Cataclysmic Abyss, and then Ozzy there's the what is it, fucking Gypsy for John Alley and Circa It's Time video. God, I'm aging myself.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't listen to like Dead Moon if it wasn't for like that Corey Duffel
part. Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Dead
if it
Moon
wasn't
Night.
that, like I wouldn't listen to it.
Huge fucking band in Portland. Like it was a couple. Yeah, Dead Moon, exactly.
Yeah,
the only
great
reason
band.
I know it.
If it wasn't for I can't even think of the song right now, but like Mystery Black and White. Like just the whole soundtrack was amazing, but there's a couple of the songs in there like, oh, it's like Dion and the Belmonts.
Yeah,
like I wouldn't know who that was if it wasn't
it's
for some of those skate
for a
parts.
black and white video too. Yeah.
Some of those like throwback kind of like
there really are
60s 50s vibe stuff too, and a lot of the punk influence, and then a lot of those trans world skate videos. Just amazing soundtracks.
I just saw one. There's one in this room somewhere. There's the Trans World Right Foot Forward box. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just so many. Badass Meets Dumbass, like the Girl in Chocolate tour video.
Oh,
like
I never saw that one.
It's at the Brewery. So
really?
We could probably put it on sometime.
Oh, hell yeah.
But they use Modest Mouse like pretty heavily, and I had listened to them a bit.
The Foundation board.
Oh, yeah.
Or Foundation video.
Yeah.
Modest Mouse in there. Fucking A.
Yeah. Yeah. They got used heavily. I listened to them outside of skate videos too.
Yeah.
And then one time I bought an iPod on like Craigslist in town, and they didn't delete their music off of it.
That's nice.
So it was just nothing but indie rock, and I was like, oh, cool. Like,
cool.
I was like, some of it was stuff I already wanted to listen to. It was like Modest Mouse entire discography, and then just went into like just a crazy like direction from there that kind of like informed.
I thought you were saying, gay, fucking indie rock, all on this iPod, dumb. I want my money back. I'm gonna knock him down a few bucks for this bullshit, making me put in the extra effort.
It's like Belle and Sebastian.
Belle and Sebastian, that's one. That's a fucking exactly.
That was on the iPod.
Oh, Jesus, damn iPod.
Yeah, skateboarding was always like kind of brought people together. I feel like maybe, just maybe, the culture might be a little bit less toxic and kind of like consumerist than it used to be, but also not at the same time. It's so
clean and cookie cutter now, and like it seems very like narrative driven. Not narrative driven. What's the word I'm looking for? It just doesn't seem authentic.
I feel like
I love skateboarding and I hate skateboarders. And when I go to skate parks, I don't want to be around any of these fucking kids. And when I see them, I realize the same pitfalls I had and those fucking scooter kids.
Yeah.
Same pitfalls of like
kids.
where I got sucked into trends just like these kids are now. And it just like it hurts because you think you're unique and you're this individual, and the only way to actually do that on a skateboard is how you skate.
Yeah.
It's like literally you just get like the scene from fucking Fight Club. You get fucking Brad Pitt reading off Tyler Durden bullshit. You are not unique. Blah blah blah. That's what it amounts to.
Yeah.
I learned, unrelated to skateboarding, that I'm like relatively normal, like a lot. So I think I'm unique, and then people come up to me and talk about like their what I thought was like a unique interest to me. Just like very casually, and it's just like,
isn't that so shattering when you're like, there goes my
like I thought my
self-perception.
identity was so like curated, and I'm just informed by the society around me.
It hurts.
With skateboarding and I guess other things, like, is gatekeeping a bad thing necessarily?
Not necessarily in my book. I love gatekeeping.
There's he's definitely a grown-ass man, but there's this dude on TikTok that I've seen that only does like finger flip tricks.
Yeah.
And like they're cool, but like he never does a normal trick. Like like
a blunt slide. Never just does like one singular trick. It's always some ridiculous combo.
Yeah, but it's all like foot down. So I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. No? I'll have to show you, but he'll do basically like a boneless to blunt slide on a handrail, but use his back foot for like stability to push down it, and then do like a 360 like finger flip out. Where it's like, it's badass. You're doing shit that not many other people could do. Like I've seen him literally like finger flip, hard flip down like 9 stairs, but like his attitude and kind of the narrative that he's building around it, crafting for social media, and the lack of, I guess...
You need to send me this fucking guy's shit.
Yeah, I'll show you. It's just the lack of like drawing from the people before him. Like it's weird. It's like iconoclasm, but I hate it. When usually if someone's an iconoclast, I'm like, fuck yeah. Like,
thank you.
Tear down these structures.
That's
and, like,
right,
do
bitch.
you.
So
but
one of
this
my
one
favorite...
is just like, no, that's not even punk. That's just you being a punk.
Yeah, it's just you being a douche about it. And you know what? I worry about that when I skate, because I almost, to a fault, to a T, will move my own like trick selection style, whatever, in the like contingent, not contingent. What's the opposite mean? Against in the iconoclastic way, where it's like, I do not want to go like this. I don't want to do it like this. Like it happened with me. I couldn't. I was afraid to go down stuff. I always got hurt just doing the little stuff, and it was like when I step into big gaps, stairs, rails, things like that, I'm going to fucking get seriously hurt. So I used to try to go upstairs. Used to try to go up gaps, and then Leo Romero. He did a grind up the Beverly Hills 9 stair. It's in 1,000 skate videos in LA. Every fucking skate video has someone doing this trick at this rail. This motherfucker went up the rail. It was like Oh, I didn't know we could do that.
Yeah.
It was a huge.
Yeah, Hollywood High is iconic, and to like just subvert expectations.
Precisely. It makes so fucking little sense to like be such an asshole about it, but I have no other way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to access it otherwise.
I don't know how to skate rails. Like I can do a couple like board slide variations, a couple
flat
nose
bar,
slide variations.
Flat bar's good.
Yeah,
I'm
I
good.
can like
That's about it.
50-50 a flat bar. Probably not. If you took me to the skate park right now, I will not do it. I will break my shit off right now trying to do it.
Yeah, you guys sound like you had a
But
nice
if you
time.
gave me a day, I could probably get a couple in.
do you,
Like, but
do you want to go skate soon?
yeah,
We should do that. Don't look so worried.
I
don't skate it. Do what you want.
I just
okay.
set up a new board too, so I want to go
really?
skate it. Yeah,
I need a new board. I'm probably gonna need to throw some wheels on one.
got one right there.
Shut up. That's Dustin Dolan. That's a neck face board. It's a
I
wall
know.
board.
Yeah, don't
sweetie.
skate a like a neck face board.
Yeah, it's so good. Well, do you want to say anything before we wrap it up?
You know, fucking hit that like.
2024 fucking.
2028. Michael Taaffe 2028. Free guns, free healthcare. Vote for me. You'll see me up like in the future for president.
I'm penciling you in right now.
Yeah, look me up. Official Taaffe on Instagram. TAAFFE TAAFF1E. If you want to check out some of my music, I make very illegal instrumental hip hop. You know, and catch me at Cold Coast Brewing Company if you want to drink some cervezas.
Oh,
We got you with 8 different beers. That's about it.
It is my favorite place, and we'll be hearing a lot more from them and about good beer in the future. Thank you guys so much for joining me on my little podcast and this first foray into my incomplete office and studio.
I'm glad the chair's holding up.
Dude, the
chair's
chair
nice.
looks great.
Yeah,
I
you
love it.
sink into
Yeah,
it,
this
it feels
chair,
good.
the guest chair, it exists because of you. So thank you so much. Huge credit to you.
Yeah,
Good old curve.
that's really nice.
Yeah.
I don't like perfect things either, so it's nice to see something like in its incomplete stages.
Just tell me my house looks like shit.
Yeah. Fuck you.